Wix Studio, one end-to-end web creation platform for your agency to deliver exceptional work with absolute efficiency.
The #1 long-form writer that helps SEOs outrank competition at the click of a button using real-time research and NLP. Start ranking content today with contentatscale.ai.
Hello. This is so surreal. I've been coming here for years and now I'm actually on stage. So I just want to take a moment of gratitude. Sorry if that's cringy, but it really means a lot to be here. So a bit about me. My name's Jenna. I'm a content strategist, a playwright, and a lover of Netflix's Is It Cake? If anyone hasn't seen it, I highly recommend spending a day in bed watching it. It's very good for the soul. So today I'm going to talk to you about long-form question-based content. Now, this story starts with Fishkin, as every good story does, in my opinion. About 5 years ago, Rand did the keynote here at Brighton SEO, and it was all about these guys, rich snippets. So I was pretty taken aback when Rand started telling me that Google was going to take some of my content and put it on the SERP without me benefiting from a page view. And I was like, no, that's really bad. We're going to suffer such a dip in traffic. And there was definitely like two schools of thought around whether or not these were good or bad. And that's really conflicting for every SEO because every SEO knows how to win any argument. You just ask Google a leading question. So for example, if I Google a rich snippet's bad, I get a rich snippet, funnily enough, saying that they don't actually influence ranking. There are other snippets that say they actually decrease click-through rates because people get the answer really quickly and then leave the SERP because they don't actually care for your blog. But if I Google a rich snippet's good, funnily enough, I get the same article ranking for a different snippet, saying that, yeah, they're amazing, and they'll help you outrank your competitors, they'll help you kind of show off your brand, and they do increase click-through rates. So personally, I have matured emotionally, and now I love rich snippets. Just quickly, a show of hands, has anyone tried to get one at any point in their SEO career? Yeah, so hopefully everyone in the room. So I went a bit rich snippet mad, and I wanted hundreds of them. Spoiler alert, I didn't get hundreds, but I did get loads, and I got them almost overnight, and I'm going to show you how I did that. So we had a plan, and we did what every marketer does best, and we booked a meeting. And in that meeting, we laughed, we cried, we went away with a ton of actions that all of us forgot, and then followed up on Slack, and we decided to do some research. And in that research, we uncovered that the majority of rich snippets are actually awarded to quick fact answers, okay? So they're life's biggest questions. When does lettuce go off? I need to know that instantly, and the rich snippet tells me very quickly not to continue making my salad. What happens if I swallow gum? I need to know if I'm going to die straight away. Rich snippet tells me I should be fine, but probably don't make a habit of it. Can Google spot AI content? I'm sure we've all probably Googled that this year and maybe even last year. And kind of more B2B questions, like what's a good email click rate? Many of you probably have searched at some point in your SEO lives, like what is a good industry benchmark? What are the stats I'm trying to reach? What counts as good? So we took all of this research and we mapped out the different intent of the types of content that surface rich snippets. So first up, it was people who wanted a quick answer, right? They just needed that kind of key takeaway. They just wanted the headline. They probably didn't need to know the full history of anything. They just kind of wanted the yes or no. Often people were looking for a stat. So whether this was you cheating in a pub quiz, wanting to know a year, who won a certain football match, whatever. Yeah, it was very numbers-based, the stuff that was surfacing rich snippets. And more often than not, it was people asking questions. So I'm not saying that they had question marks on the end of their queries. I don't think anyone has time for that. I personally don't. But it was very, very question-based. So it started with how, what, why, when, where. I think that's all 5 of them. So we took all this and we had another meeting. That's really exciting. And I was like, OK, look, guys, if we're trying to target people in a hurry, I've got a really good idea. We need to create short, snappy blog content that answers one dedicated question per blog. And everyone was like, short form content doesn't really rank. And I was like, no, guys, we're onto something. I really believe in this plan. And they were like, I just don't think it's a good idea. And I was like, guys, we're doing it. We're going to take over Google. So before I embarrass myself, although I think I've already done that, there was method to the madness. I do want to make that clear. We did uncover a handful of blogs and articles and sites in our research that showed a lot of short-form content actually bagging rich snippets. So I do want to say that, I wasn't completely talking nonsense. But in retrospect, yes, I'm very embarrassed, and short-form content at scale went against everything I believed in. If you still don't believe me, here's the stats to back it up. So we ran 2 tests where we had one blog that was purely short-form. It was answering one dedicated question per article, and then we had another one that was very long form, and it answered all of the kind of semantic people also asked questions throughout the blog. So it was a very long piece, answered a ton of questions. Very similar monthly search volumes for the questions that we were trying to target. Within 2 weeks of launch, the short form blog got 82 impressions on the SERP, and within the exact same time frame, the long form blog got 5,840 impressions on the SERP. So short form content is certainly not king. However, I do want to say that short form does have its place. So we have managed to do really successfully with short form kind of like landing page content where the user knows exactly what they need to do by the time they land on the page, right? It's a very high intent page. They know all they need to do is fill in the form. They've probably seen an ad to get there, or they've clicked get your copy now and they've landed on that page. But generally, trying to rank with short form content at scale does 2 things. One, it increases the amount of bad content on your site, and it decreases the amount of good content on your site. Overall, that spells out to Google that you're not doing well. So long form is king. So now that we've talked about the mistake, let's talk about what you should do to successfully bag rich snippets. First, I want to tell you why you should be focused on question-based content. So generally, we're finding that search is becoming a lot more conversational. So I work at a company called GWI. We're a market research tech company, and we run the world's largest study on the online consumer. We interviewed a ton of people to get this data. So our survey represents the views of 2.8 billion consumers around the world. And we asked people, which of these platforms or programs do you most use to find information on the internet? The good news for all of us in this room is that 64.4% of people said manual search engines like Google and Yahoo. Slight tangent, which I won't go into too much, but really interesting to call out. About 42% of people say social media platforms is their preferred choice. And this is something that Google execs have also commented on, the fact that younger consumers are turning to TikTok and Instagram for restaurant recommendations and kind of things to do. But the 2 stats I want to really call out here is 25% of consumers say they use voice search, and 26% of consumers say they use smartphone voice assistants. So that's, hey Siri, how do I know when my lettuce is going off? What this means is, when people are on the hunt for information, they are conversing with Google to find what they want. And to complicate things further, there's a new player in the landscape of finding information. Ladies and gentlemen, her. ChatGPT has changed the game. Whether we like it or not, it is changing how we search for information. So our data shows that 64% of ChatGPT users say they would consistently use it over a search engine to help answer questions. And I really want to hone in on that final point, help answer questions. The other thing I want to call out, 55% of ChatGPT users say they find themselves chatting to it like they would a live person, using please and thank you. That is totally wild, but I completely agree with it because I do it too. I want ChatGPT to like me. I repeat, search is becoming more conversational. And to complicate things even further, AI is really raising the bar on how we find information, the speed at which we find it, the self-serve nature of it, and the customizable quality of that information. If ChatGPT doesn't give me exactly the answer I need, I can refine the search and it will think harder. Google doesn't really do that. This is what happened when fintech disrupted the finance sector. It's a bit of a left field comparison, so bear with me for 2 seconds. So the speed at which we can now send friends money makes the old school way very redundant, right? So we're very used to being able to just send people Monzo requests for money or Revolut, and it's a completely different experience to how I would normally set up a bank transfer in Santander. The product can no longer keep up with our expectations. A traditional bank can no longer match what I think I need from banking. Here's a scary thought. What if in 10 years, or maybe not even 10 years, to be honest, 2 to 3 years, the traditional SERP cannot keep up with what I expect in my search for information because AI has just changed the game of what I think should be happening. So we're at a tipping point where people's expectations are changing. And a key driver of this, like I said, thanks to AI and voice search, is conversational question-based searching. The proof is in the pudding. We embarked on a mission to get snippets with long-form question-based content, as I said, and 36% of our top 50 organic blogs feature either question-based H1s or question-based meta titles. Since January, that 36% of content has brought in 91.8 thousand organic sessions, which is pretty wild. Here's an example of the types of snippets we get per blog. So this blog on how to use qualitative and quantitative research to your advantage, this one bags 12 rich snippets, or people also ask snippets for various terms on UK and US SERPs. This one bags 11, how to define a target persona. This one bags 4, audience segmentation, how to perfect it for your marketing. 7, for how are Gen Z and millennials driving nostalgia. 4, for how to conduct a market research survey that works. You get the picture. A lot of those started with the word how. So we know why we should be targeting question-based queries. Let's talk about how. You want to be starting with your current clients. If you're not already in direct communication with your customers or clients, that is where you should be starting. So we have a pretty open relationship with a lot of our key clients. We include them in a lot of content, like webinars, reports, blogs, that sort of thing. And we really do have like a glue-like relationship with them. What you want to be doing is asking them kind of the hot topics that are going on in their industry, the pain points that they currently have, and honestly, any questions that they actually have about your product or service, because that's the type of content you should be creating, right? You need to start with the questions that your current clients have. Become best friends with your sales team. So this might ruffle a few feathers, but honestly, I think sales teams know our industries better than we do. Controversial. Because they're on the phones all day, and they're constantly researching things, and they're constantly getting replies back from emails and cold emailing, cold calling. So every quarter, we actually hold focus sessions with our revenue teams to understand the kind of questions that prospects ask, and we use those to springboard off from our content strategy. In a previous job, I worked at a flexible office brokerage, and one of the things that I did was added myself to the mailing list of inquiries that were coming through. And what I managed to find out is that not only like the types of questions that prospects were asking, i.e., what's the cheapest area for office space, or how do I relocate my team, or how do I switch to a hybrid working situation. You're not only understanding the questions that people are asking, you're also figuring out the language that they are using. So keyword research can definitely get you so far, but if you're not actually figuring out the specific language that your prospects or clients are using, you're missing a really, really good trick. Map out your persona's pain points. So what are the use cases that your company offers, and how can they match to the snagging issues that your clients and prospects have, right? Don't be afraid to kind of, figure out the needs, wants, and, even upskilling missions that they have. They might want to, educate themselves on a certain topic. It might not directly relate to the product or service you offer, but you're filling that pain point and you're providing some guidance around that question-based content to fill that gap. Don't limit yourself to tofu content. So sure, question-based content is fantastic for top of the funnel stuff. I think I come onto this in a minute about, go basic because it works. But question-based content is really great for top-of-the-funnel traffic, but it can also bring in mofu-bofu traffic. So if your page is set up to convert people onto the next part of their journey, it's a win-win. If you're a SaaS platform like us, don't be afraid to kind of put your brand name into things. So if you want to be doing more middle-of-the-funnel content, we would do a blog, for example, on how to track my brand with GWI, or how to create a media plan with GWI. Don't be afraid to go really granular and talk product specific. Don't be afraid to sound basic. So we're a market research company. One of the blogs that we get the most rich snippets for is on how to conduct a market research survey that works. I know it sounds counterintuitive that we're teaching people how to conduct market research because we are a market research company. We don't necessarily want them to do their own. We want them to come to us and use our on-demand insights. But don't worry about it, because if someone is searching how to conduct market research and they find your blog, that is a perfect opportunity to tell them who you are and what you do and that you can do it better. Yeah, if your goal is traffic and brand awareness, don't worry about sounding junior. Don't worry about sounding really elementary. There's a place on the SERP for every type of question. Find your niche. Don't try to rank for Gen Z. Don't do it. Try to rank for how does Gen Z shop in the US? Go long tail. Find what you specifically can answer and run with it. Do as much keyword research as you can, and also search by market. So we get different rich snippets on US SERPs and UK SERPs, and I'm sure if we looked at different markets, it would be the same again. And finally, optimize for on-page SEO for each blog. So like I said earlier, do not just try and answer one question per blog, answer multiple. And the way in which you can do that is turning to the people also ask snippets, conducting kind of like topic cluster research, like what else are people searching for in this sphere? Even if you don't get a rich snippet, you might get a PAA snippet instead. Think topic first, and if you're running out of questions to answer, split by generation, split by market. You know, we did one on like the world's most popular sports, but we can also filter that by like world's most popular sports by region, world's most popular sport by generation. There's so many questions that you can answer that you can elongate your blog with and make it really long form. I've been talking for a long time and it's been a long day. So if you only remember 3 things, create long-form content around long-tail questions. Marry up your keyword research with on-the-ground conversations with clients so you know how they say what they say. And don't be afraid to write about the basics. Thank you very much.
Monthly reporting making you want to shove sharp things up your nose? Try Dragon Metrics, the all-in-one SEO software with mind-blowing reporting tools.